Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news. So Manchester United have been given a new Jadon Sancho transfer price by Borussia Dortmund. According to the Times, Borussia Dortmund are open to selling Jadon Sancho for £86 million. So they have lowered their asking price because initially Dortmund were demanding £108 million. Borussia Dortmund have already admitted that they will sell Jadon Sancho for the right price in the summer transfer window. Borussia Dortmund's CEO recently revealed that the club will discuss exceptional offers for the winner. It recently said, "We are still interested in Sancho and we are refusing to rule out a move." Now earlier on this season, he said that we was preparing a £50 million bid because it said we believe we can get him for a cut price fee. Earlier on this season, it said we ended our interest in Sancho due to the progress of Mason Greenwood. Borussia Dortmund CEO did mention earlier on this season that Sancho, Haaland and more Dortmund stars could be sold to avoid financial crisis. Earlier on this season, Sancho made an admission saying that he has enjoyed a difficult season at Dortmund, but he said he was happy to be back among the goals. By the way, he's ruled out for Dortmund's game tonight against Man City in the second leg of the Champions League. But last summer, Jadon Sancho was our number one priority target. The main explanation we didn't get him is because we was reluctant to meet Borussia Dortmund's £108 million valuation. We was only willing to pay so much up front. But Sancho to Man United last summer was extremely close because it said the personal terms had been agreed, the agent fees had been agreed and even a contract had been agreed. And Fabrizio Romano, who's a very reliable Italian journalist and close to Man United, he's spoken a lot about the Sancho saga and so too has Bill's Christian Fark. Fabrizio Romano recently explained Jadon Sancho's hold-up to Man United. Dortmund said to us last summer that we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. We obviously missed out on that deadline, so Sancho remained at Dortmund. Analysing the vast majority of his career at Dortmund, he's been very consistent. This is his fourth season with them. He's under contract with Dortmund until 2023, and Dortmund paid just £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017. So there's a very good chance we'll get Sancho now because Dortmund have said that they'll accept £86 million. Now, I want to delve into some news on Harry Kane. So, Harry Kane wants to stay in the Premier League if he leaves Tottenham. Now, there was reports coming out recently saying that PSG are looking to beat Man United and Man City to the signing of Harry Kane. Harry Kane has said that he wants to leave Tottenham at the end of the season if Tottenham fail to qualify for the Champions League. Now, it's saying that Harry Kane to Man United is off following Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Jose Mourinho's bust-up not so long ago. But he said earlier on this season that Harry Kane had dealt Tottenham a major blow because he refused to commit his future to the club, and it said he's delaying his transfer decision until after the Euros. Daniel Levy, the Tottenham chairman, he made a decision on Harry Kane, and he says Tottenham will not sell Harry Kane to another Premier League club. David Einstein, earlier on this season, he's spoken about it, and he said that, he spoke to people in football. He said Harry Kane wants to leave Tottenham because he's unhappy. He said that he's committed to Tottenham whilst he's there, but he wants to win the biggest trophies, and he's obviously not experiencing this at Tottenham. He has won the Golden Boot a couple of times. We'll have to make an offer of at least 120 million to convince Tottenham to offload him. Harry Kane is regarded as one of the best strikers in the world because he's a prolific goal scorer. And he's well proven in the Premier League. He's been a long-serving player at Tottenham. He's been there 17 years. He's been in their senior squad since 2009. He's got a contract with Tottenham till 2024. Back in 2018, he signed a 6-year contract. Harry Kane's had loan spells before with Leyton Orient, Millwall, Norwich and Leicester. Now, I want to give you some news on Declan Rice from West Ham because there is positivity coming out regarding Declan Rice. So, I've just read it in the Manchester Evening News. It says that Declan Rice is interested in joining Manchester United. And Declan Rice has asked some of our players about the club. That was during England's World Cup qualifiers. West Ham have said that they'll only sell Declan Rice if they receive a bid in the excess of £100 million. It said earlier on this season that West Ham were considering lowering their asking price for Declan Rice to £50 million because initially they were demanding like £80 million. It said not so long ago that we are exploring a swap deal involving Declan Rice and Jesse Lingard. Declan Rice has been at West Ham for 7 years now. He's made over 100 appearances in the Premier League. He's under contract at West Ham till 2024. He said earlier on this season that Solskjaer had agreed with our recruitment team that Declan Rice would be the perfect signing for the club. The main explanations I'd take Rice at Man United is because he's young, he's got a lot of development in him, he's well proven in the Premier League, and he's predominantly a holding midfielder, and Man United need a holding midfielder, but Declan Rice can also be deployed as a centre-half. He was relentlessly linked to a move to Chelsea last year. Obviously, he was Frank Lampard's number one target. Frank Lampard was infuriated when he missed out on him. Rice is a former Chelsea player. He was in their youth setup for a while, but he never got in their first team. I think Rice would be a good replacement for Nemanja Matic. Yesterday, I give you some more news on Raphael Varane. Raphael Varane is ready to leave Real Madrid. We are preparing a transfer bid. And it says we'll chase Raphael Varane in the summer, and we hope to lower Real Madrid's 60 million asking price. Raphael Varane's contract talks with Real Madrid have stalled. He's got just over a year left on his current contract. Eduardo Inda, who's a Spanish transfer expert, he said earlier on this season that Raphael Varane could be on his way to Man United in the summer. But it said earlier on this season that Real Madrid are prepared to sell Raphael Varane on one condition: Varane must inform Real Madrid on his decision to leave. And back in 2018, we was prepared to sanction a £100 million move for Varane. You know, he'd go very, very well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. You know, Raphael Varane hasn't played in the Premier League yet, but I can assure if he comes to the Premier League, he'll exceed expectations and he'll replicate what he's done at Real Madrid. He's been at Real Madrid 10 years, so he's been a long servant. You know, Madrid paid just €10 million for him from Lens back in 2011. And he's won 18 major honours at Real Madrid and he's made over 300 appearances. And he's 27 years of age, so he is highly experienced. It recently said that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had drawn up a 6-man centre-back shortlist. I've been keeping you up to date as well of what's been going on with Erling Haaland. It recently said from the Express that Man United are worried about the Erling Haaland transfer pursuit because of Jadon Sancho. The Athletic recently said that Erling Haaland to Man United is off following Mino Raiola's roadshow. But he did mention the Athletic that we are one of the clubs that can afford him. Mino Raiola wants Erling Haaland to become the first £1 million a week player. Obviously, we know that Erling Haaland's agent Mino Raiola and his father Al Finch Haaland have already been to England for talks with several Premier League clubs, have also held talks with Barcelona and Real Madrid. Said the other week that we declined to meet Mino Raiola over discussing a possible deal for Haaland. Dortmund are demanding $150 million. But in the summer transfer window, I'm expecting Man United to make around 3 or 4 signings. And I've identified the areas where we need to strengthen up. We need a striker, we need a right winger, we need a defensive midfielder, and we also need a centre-half. Reports said not so long ago that Man United will spend big in the summer transfer window, but Solskjaer wants to keep transfer dealings quiet. But yeah, in the summer transfer window, we'll be focusing on the incomings and the outgoings. Earlier on this season, Ole did warn that we may not do business as usual due to the pandemic, but he said that he's interested in bringing in players that will be a perfect fit for the club. The players that could leave Man United in the summer transfer window is Edinson Cavani. There's a chance that he'll leave, but there's also a slight chance that he'll stay for next season. There's a lot of Man United fans that want Cavani to stay for next season. I think Solskjaer wants him to stay for next season. Solskjaer did say prior to the game against Tottenham that he's unsure over Edinson Cavani's future. There's been reports coming out today saying that we've been handed a boost. In our attempt to keep hold of Edinson Cavani, because the Uruguay manager has advised Edinson Cavani to stay in Europe. And not so long ago, we held showdown talks with Edinson Cavani over his future at the club, and we want to convince him to stay. Now, Footballer Insider said not so long ago that Cavani has reached a verbal agreement with Boca Juniors. He's willing to take a pay cut, and Boca Juniors are willing to offer him a 3-year contract. Marcus Rojo, who's a former Man United player, he's held talks with Edinson Cavani over the Boca Juniors move, and Rojo actually urged Edinson Cavani to quit Man United for Boca Juniors by promising to take him fishing. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer did say that Cavani is closer to Boca Juniors than staying at Man United, and Edinson Cavani's father came out and said that Edinson Cavani is unhappy. He's not comfortable in England and he wants to leave. Cavani's current contract expires in the summer, but we do have an option to trigger his contracts for the further year. I think he's made a fantastic impact since he's come to Man United. You know, in a lot of his games, he's scored goals, he's created chances, his movement in and around the box has been good. He's scored good goals. Hold-up play's been good, but there's actually been some games where he hasn't really got enough service and he's looked isolated. We got him on a free transfer last summer. I think there's a chance Martial will go in the summer transfer window because there's a lot of Man United fans that are saying we need to sell Martial. He's no longer good enough to represent the club and he has been out of form for the vast majority of this season. The chances have been there for Anthony Martial, but he hasn't converted them. But Solskjaer said earlier on this season he's backing Martial to rediscover his form and he said he's been impressed with his work rate. Martial's out with injury. It's looking very likely he's going to be out for the remainder of the season. Solskjaer confirmed that not so long ago. Martial sustained this injury whilst he was on international duty with France. Martial's had 2 good seasons. He was good last season and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. He's been at the club now over 5 years. We got him in a deal worth 54 million from Monaco. I think it was last season Solskjaer giving that number 9 shirt. I'm expecting Juan Mata to leave in the summer transfer window. Juan Mata's current contract expires in June. There is also an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Juan Mata doesn't get in R11. Mata's been at the club over 6 years. I think he's enjoyed a good career at Man United. He's made over 200 appearances in all competitions and he's scored 50 goals. We got Juan Mata in a deal worth 40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. And at the first part of this season, he rejected an 18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. Donny van de Beek. I think we should offload him in the summer transfer window. The main explanation is because he's not getting enough opportunities at Manchester United. If he was getting enough opportunities, then I'd be saying totally different, because he is a good player. Ronald de Boer has actually backed Donny van de Beek to become a success at Old Trafford. And he said earlier on this season, Ronald de Boer, that Donny van de Beek still feels loved at the club despite his lack of game time. We are actually considering a Donny van de Beek swap deal. There's been talks of a Donny van de Beek and Adrian Rabiot swap deal. But he said earlier on this season that Donny van de Beek wanted to hold showdown talks with Ed Woodward over his future, because he said he wants to leave Man United after 1 season due to his lack of game time. We got Donny van de Beek in a deal worth £40 million from Ajax last summer, and he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. Don't forget he was out with injury at one point for a while. It wasn't so long ago, actually. Nemanja Matic, I'm also expecting us to offload him because he's not one of our first choice midfielders, is Matic. He isn't. Paul Pogba, he could still leave Manchester United in the summer transfer window there again. He could stay potentially past the summer. I'd like Paul Pogba to stay potentially past the summer because we've been getting the best out of Pogba in recent months and he does bring creativity to the team. I prefer Pogba in more of an advanced role because that's where he's more effective. I'm not too keen on him in a deeper role. Now, like I updated you yesterday, there's been talks of a Cristiano Ronaldo and Paul Pogba swap deal. That was stemming from Italian reports. Do you think that would be a good swap deal? You know, Ronaldo coming back to Man United and Paul Pogba going back to Juventus. Paul Pogba has had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked to a return to Juventus. Juventus have been keen on a Paul Pogba swap deal. He's been relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. PSG have been in for him, and Barcelona have been in for him. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said not so long ago that Paul Pogba's future lies at Man United, and he hopes Paul Pogba will stay and sign a new contract. And it says our players will be devastated if Paul Pogba is sold in the summer transfer window. Earlier on this season, we triggered that one-year extension on Pogba's contract, so he's under contract with the club until June 2022. So that means obviously next year his current contract expires. So if he stays potentially past the summer, there's a good chance he'll leave on a free next year unless we get him a new contract. We know that obviously Mino Raiola has been desperate to get his client out of the football club. Matthias Pogba, Paul Pogba's brother, he gave us an update on Paul Pogba's future earlier on this season. He actually advised us to sell Pogba because he said there's a good chance he'll leave on a free next year, and he said he's got no intentions of extending his contract. As it stands at the moment, Pogba's our most expensive signing, paid $89 million for him, and this is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. Don't forget, Pogba had a thigh injury for a while. Earlier on this season, he was out for the first part of this season with an ankle injury, and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. Phil Jones, I'm expecting us to offload him because he doesn't get in our team and he's always been inconsistent, and he's the only outfield player that's still here from the Ferguson era. This is Phil Jones' 10th season at Man United, so he has been a long servant. Been out of injury for over a year. Axel Tuanzebe, I think we should offload him because he doesn't get in our 11. David De Gea, he could leave Man United in the summer transfer window. Some Man United fans think it would be a mistake letting David De Gea go. I don't think it would be, because I reckon De Gea's had his years now at Man United. He's been at the club 10 years. So he's been a long servant. I reckon he's had, 8 good years out of the 10 years he's been at Man United. Because in the last couple of years, De Gea has been a liability, reflecting on the calamitous mistakes he's made. But a few years ago, definitely was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world. De Gea has won everything domestically at the football club. Recently said we may loan David De Gea out. And he said David De Gea had made his transfer decision. He's preparing to leave Man United. And he said we're set to pay off his huge contract. Now, it said the other week we set our price for De Gea. It's 50 million. And there's a few clubs that are chasing him. Atletico Madrid, PSG, Real Madrid and AC Milan. De Gea's got 2 years left on his current contract. And he's on £375,000 a week. Diego Dalot, I think there's a good chance we'll offload him permanently. He's obviously out on loan with AC Milan at the moment. And I don't know what's going to be happening with Jesse Lingard. I really don't know what's going to be happening with Jesse Lingard. It said the other week that we had the advantage in Jesse Lingard transfer talks because West Ham have come out and said they'll do whatever it takes to get Lingard permanently. Said the other week we set our asking price. It's between 25 to 30 million pounds. And like I mentioned earlier on, we've been interested in a Declan Rice and Jesse Lingard swap deal. But since Lingard's gone out on loan to West Ham, he's made a fantastic impact. But it said earlier on this season that we was open to a sensational return for Lingard, and it says he could be given a new 3-year contract. But yeah, I'm expecting Solskjaer to get the backing he deserves in the summer transfer window, because obviously we've got John Murtough. He's our director of football, and it was the right decision by the club getting a director of football in, because I did mention that's one of the structural changes that we needed. And plus, John Murtough knows the club through thick and thin. And we've got Darren Fletcher. He's our technical director. He endured 2 decades as a player for Manchester United. And obviously, Woodward, he's standing by Solskjaer. You know, Woodward believes that Solskjaer is the right man to lead the club forward. He did release a statement earlier on this season saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, Woodward is backing Solskjaer. And in general, Woodward's come out several times to show his support for Ole, even when was enduring them really bad periods. You know, the summer transfer window will be Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as Manchester United manager. I don't think he has been backed enough so far in the transfer windows he has endured, and in that aspect the blame stems from the board, but the board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years, reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've also overpaid for players, and in general the managers that we've had since Ferguson retired haven't got the players that they wanted to recommend in. I can assure that Solskjaer will be Man United manager in the summer transfer window, and he will be Man United manager next season, because we've already said that Solskjaer will not be sacked even if we fail to win the Europa League. The Europa League is our only chance of any silverware this season. There's a good chance we'll win it. Solskjaer knows how imperative it is to get his first trophy on the board as Man United manager. You know, we haven't won a trophy since 2017. Don't forget, Solskjaer did say last month that winning trophies can be an ego thing. But I've said Solskjaer does deserve at least another season, because progress has been made by Ole in certain aspects. But I can assure that Solskjaer is not the long-term manager for Man United. I can assure we'll finish in the top 4 this season. We'll probably finish second this season. I think a second place is now secure, reflecting on that 3-1 win against Tottenham recently. You know, this is Ole's second full season at the club. You know, there has been a lot of Man United fans demanding Ole out. They've obviously got main explanations why they want him out, but I presume that there's still quite a lot of Man United fans that are Ole in and believe that he needs more time at the club. Because Ole knew when he'd taken over at Man United it was going to be a massive job, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. We know that Ole's already agreed a new 3-year contract worth 30 million. I presume a lot of United fans disagree with us giving him this new contract. He's got a year left on his current 3-year contract. But Solskjaer is our best manager since Ferguson. You know, he's been Man United manager over 2 years now. We appointed him in December 2018 to replace Mourinho, and he's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. We give Solskjaer the job permanently a couple of years ago because he did very well as the interim manager. I do have my concerns about Ole, like I've told you before, but there's also positives regarding Ole. You know, he has made good signings as Man United manager. You know, he's spent almost £300 million. He's let a lot of the deadwood go since he come in. He did well last season in his first full season at the club. Got us a 3rd place finish, guided us to 3 semi-finals. You know, this season, you know, he got us to the EFL Cup semi-final, got us to the FA Cup quarter-final. He's more or less got us to the Europa League semi-final. That'll be 5 semi-finals under Solskjaer in total. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. We are unbeaten in our last 23 Premier League away games. And we've enjoyed very good periods under Ole, where we have seen consistency, and in some of them good periods he's got the best out of the team. And I like the way he has promoted the youth, so there are the positives. Ole hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager, but he's gained some managerial experience, reflecting how long he's been at the club. Let's put into the equation Solskjaer is inheriting players from other managerial eras. Ollie is our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson retired. On my next video, I will be giving you my predictions for the game against Granada, and then after that I'll be giving you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference ahead of the game against Granada. So anyway guys, that's everything to update for today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.